We're coming to you by way of Facebook and several other wonderful, and of course we've got a lot to talk about today. We had a big weekend of college and pro football, and now it's coming up to another big weekend in college football, as we have several big tie-in teams. Of course, we're starting to look toward not only the conference championship, which Alabama has clinched one half of that scholarship, and I mean that great game, and of course right now it looks like Alabama and Georgia are going to end up playing for the Southeastern Conference title, plus a very good chance that they'll be looking at a possible national championship bid, in which will be the top 4 teams in the nation. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back.
Are you a driver
Give me
trainee
some coffee,
just
please,
finished in school and want to drive an
How you doing?
automatic truck? Then call Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Right, Fuzzy? We have automatic trucks. That's right. And we will reimburse you for your driver training. No pets? Not at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. At Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we thought of everything. We thought of the kennel for your fuzzy friend. Right, Fuzzy? Tell them about it. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Come drive for the best today. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Tell them, Fuzzy.
Forevermark Diamonds. Beautiful, rare, responsibly sourced. Available at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry.
Life is hectic enough without
How you doing,
worrying
man?
if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
Now through November 14, you'll have nothing but fun at the National Peanut Festival. See clowns, magicians.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
Who played in the 1961 national championship at the University of Alabama. I can remember it well, and I'll tell you what. Now, I don't believe it was snowing that day, but they were playing Arkansas, and I want to say they won by 10-7 or 10-0.
10-3.
10-3. Alabama beat Arkansas for the national championship.
Jimmy Johnson and the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, were freshmen on that Arkansas team, so they didn't play, but they were on the team. And then Lance Allworth was their big
That's
star.
right. They called him Bambi. He was fast as lightning, but some of those Alabama players, gosh, I reckon between you and I, we probably could name 70, 80% of them, but.
That team gave up, they gave up 3 points in that game. They only played 11 games, but in 11 games, they gave up 25 points. Yeah. No, in the years since then, no college football team has come close to giving up fewer points in the season than 25 points.
Then they had a guy named Rice, and then they had a guy named Boylston, and they had a guy named Bill Battle. They had, help me with it.
Well, let's see, they had, actually they had Leroy Jordan,
Leroy,
Pat Trammell, Frocky,
Mike Frocky,
Richard Williamson
from out here.
Brother Bill Oliver.
All right, Oliver.
Mal Moore, he didn't play much.
Yes, right, but he was on the team.
Jack Patton. Charlie Pell. Darwin Holt. Billy Neighbors was the All-American.
Billy Neighbors. You're doing a good job.
Let's see, I think they had Cotton Clark.
And Billy Richardson.
They had some Billy Richardson and some Wilson.
Jimmy Wilson was a lineman, yeah.
His son later was a lineman at Alabama.
Played for Kansas City.
Yeah, they had.
And he was
Tommy
a kicker.
Brooker.
Yeah, he was a kicker.
He was a
kicked it.
He was a kicker. He was a kicker and the end.
Yeah, Brooker and of course you had some.
Bud Casey was on that team for
but he didn't get
couple
his picture
years.
made.
Dad said, I've read your book you gave me.
Carlton Rankin might have been on that team. Carlton Rankin, all right.
Carl Hobson was on that freshman.
I don't know if
he left.
made.
No, they after Coach Bryant came, they just had all kind of scholarships they could give and walk-ons and transfers, and about 75 people came in with Dad's recruiting class, and by that time that 61 season was over, I think there were 8.
Yeah. The governor, we got him. You know who he was, don't you?
Yes, who was he?
The governor.
Rutledge.
Jack Rutledge. Jack Rutledge. They call him the governor. Also, you had a great lineman later on became head coach at VPI, and was a great player, Jimmy Sharp. No, not Sharp. Yeah, Jimmy Sharp. That's who it was.
And I'll tell you some of the coaches. Now, this is what's impressive, Mike. Coaches on that staff were Charlie Bradshaw, Howard Snellenberger, Gene Stallings, let's see,
Carney Lassie.
The coach that went on.
You know who Carney Lassie was, don't you?
I think the guy that went on the coach at Maryland.
Yeah, that was Kitchen.
And then the guy that went on the coach at Kansas.
That was Bud Moore.
Yeah. I think about 7 of those assistants later went on to be head coaches.
Oh yeah.
And then players, you had Bill Battle became a coach, Charlie Pell became a coach.
Yeah, that's right, Battle.
Richard Williamson became a coach.
That's
he was
right.
the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a while.
Yeah.
Almost became coach at Alabama.
That's right. Everybody was always saying, hire him. And he was from out here at Fort Deposit.
Fort Deposit. And Brother Bill Oliver became a coach.
Yes, sir. A good one too. You know, he coached at Alabama and at Auburn. He was a very good coach both. You know, I tell you who he coached at Auburn. You know, he coached at Auburn for a few years, and he coached the little defensive back made All-American at Auburn, big businessman in Montgomery.
Oh, really? Brother Bill is?
No, the little guy from Montgomery, he made All-American at Auburn.
I don't know.
Shoot.
Terry Beasley, but he's from...
Yeah, but he wasn't a coach.
He was a wide receiver.
Yeah. Well, he was by far the...
Well, I left off the most famous player because he was a freshman. He didn't play. He was the scout team quarterback, and the freshman quarterback, a guy named Joe Willie Namath.
Yeah, he was on that team, wasn't he? That's right. Namath was Wayne Trimble. You remember him?
Yeah.
And then they had Leslie Kelly. You remember him?
Les Kelly.
From little town of right up above. Oh shoot, I can't believe.
Well, they were all. Here's the things. Since I've become kind of a sport and Alabama historian in my older age, 95% of these guys came from little small towns like Troy or Fort Deposit or Dozier.
And how about Coleman?
95% of them came from the state of Alabama. Yeah. There was just no recruiting players from Hawaii, California, and Canada.
I'll tell you this.
And none of them would really have been 4 or 5 star. They didn't have 4 or 5 star prospects, but they. And then a ton of them were small and light, considered for football players by today's standards.
Yeah. Well, at one time, Alabama started. They started when I was a lineman. They started Wayne Trumbull, Leslie Kelly, and Terry Rowell. The other guy was Rowell. 3 guys from Coleman started at Alabama the same year.
Coleman, Jasper, Fort Deposit,
Yes, sir.
Ozark,
you're
Eufaula, Elba.
That's right, no question. And then later on, how about Mulga? You know who played at Mulga?
Calvin Culver? No.
No, you're close though.
Calvin Culver was good.
Yeah, Calvin Culver came from BC. Bruton, W.S. Neal.
You know, they had the Goods from Town Creek.
That's right.
I'm reading your book you gave me about all the families that played for Alabama, and I have spoken on this show several times about what would have been if Kerry Good had not hurt his knee in the first game of his sophomore year.
And I want to share.
And in reading that book, the author interviewed Ray Perkins, who was Kerry Good's coach. And Ray Perkins says exactly what I said. He says Good would have rewritten the record books.
He
would have been one of the best in college or pros.
Yeah. Bring me in, you German.
Okay. Guten Morgen.
What is it, Wolf Jack State there?
Whoop, Jack State. Whoop, Jack State. Yeah, you're right. Troy plays Jacksonville State tonight in a big college basketball game.
Well, enough about those old Alabama teams. Except for Kerry Good, I heard sad news on him. He's got a real bad form of Lou Gehrig's disease.
Well, that's sad, really.
And he is my age.
Yeah, it's been battling it for 5 years.
Yeah, he came to Alabama. I looked at reading the story. He was born 4 days before me, so Kerry Good and I are almost exactly the same age.
Now, there were 3 of them, Terry and...
4, as I found out.
4.
Here they were.
You know,
Chris Good.
Chris, Clyde, Terry, and Pierre.
And their first cousin, who actually lived with them, was Antonio Langham.
That's right. Isn't that unreal?
Can you believe it?
Little town.
Then they had another distant cousin named Terrence Lynch, who was a good running back, fullback for Alabama. So there's 5 that came from that town.
That's really legal. What happened in Alabama when you sign with an agent on a bar napkin?
Well,
That's what happened to Antonio Langham.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the dumbest story I've ever heard in my life, but that was really true.
Well, put Alabama on the cover of Sports Illustrated that said, so the Alabama's reputation was forever impugned by one player signing a contract on a napkin after a victory and then lying about it is what he did.
Somebody we left off 3 good ones. One of them was Paul Crane. The other one was the great doctor from Enterprise,
Galen
McCullough, and the other one was Jimmy Carroll. Jimmy Carroll would get all over us if we hadn't mentioned him.
Yeah, Galen McCullough was.
But all 3 of them, 2 of them were from Enterprise.
Yeah, Galen McCullough was a freshman when Dad was a senior. He was Joe Namath's center. He is the most famous, or was, plastic surgeon.
Yeah, he still is. He's in Mobile now.
If I was ever marketing the Troy Athletic Department tonight, I would have the airplane contest come back for the Jack State game. People got to know the history.
I know it. You're right.
Then I would have had Mike Amos and Bill Rice impersonate E.C. Oswald and Harry Baker the jeweler.
That's right. Yeah.
4 bits, 6 bits a dollar.
That's right, Michael.
Well, you ought to be the director.
Michael, you're about to make me cry. 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1. All for the Trojans. Stand up and holla.
Did Harry Baker go to the basketball games too?
Oh yeah, they went to everything.
Oh gosh, did he? He went to everything. Well, I'll tell you another one, a good one. Also, I want you Jack State fans to hear this. 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1. No, excuse me. 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1. All for the Gamecocks. Lay down and waller.
I saw some great Troy Jack State basketball games back in the Masry era. And,
Boy, that's some great games.
they would be for the Gulf South Conference title, and then I went to a couple of them up in Jacksonville. And, man, it was
I'll
packed
tell you,
arenas.
you're right.
How crazy would that be for students tonight to build airplanes on the court?
That's right. And they would eat it up. All they need to do is get them just a plain sheet of paper and make them a plane, and say, hey, whoever's closest to the center circle, you get a prize.
Well, they do some neat stuff and fun stuff in the games. You know.
Those guys are supposed to be watching me every day. I hope they are, good or bad.
You get some good ideas.
Like my mother said, good or bad or indifferent.
The first 100 students get, I think, free cheeseburgers tonight.
Oh yeah, well I'm gonna be there wearing my rat hat. Y'all don't even know what a rat hat was, do you?
Nope.
I went to Jacksonville State for a semester one year, and
Make sure I didn't take my wife's
because
keys.
it's harmonica. See what it is, and see if it's important.
Yeah, let's see my. Hey. Oh my
This is
gosh!
laid-back
I have got my.
television at its very, very best.
I've got my
Brought to you
wife's
by
car
Troy
keys.
Bank
I
and
gotta
Trust
leave.
Company.
I'll be right
the
home,
The
okay?
only bank you'll ever
Right.
need is Troy Bank and Trust Company and Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks. Where he's got
Go back and get my wife her car keys.
He's got a Black Friday sale that will knock your socks
I'll be right
off.
back, Mike.
He had left his wife's key to her car. She can't go to work. She can't take the kids to kindergarten or elementary school today. So Rice will be back later on. The
I'll tell you what,
2000
not a good sign tonight. I didn't realize Jacksonville State would be a favorite at Troy, a 4.5-point favorite. They must be pretty good in basketball.
They must be, and of course, Troy's got a lot of new players, and but it's going to be a real good one. And of course, anytime you play Jacksonville State, hey, you can talk about the great Alabama and Auburn rivalry, which it is great. And I'm not saying it's greater than that, but at one time it was awfully great. I mean, you could just feel it all over you when you walked in the gymnasium or the football field. And Mike, you've been to many of Jackson State games, though. What did you notice before one Jacksonville State football game?
What are you talking about, their bands?
No, how about the field?
Oh, well, the grass always real thick.
No. Before every football game, they wet down the field. If anybody's ever done it, Jacksonville State did. They didn't have good lighting. They had the field was muddy, and the band, which I've never said this about many bands in this country, but their marching band and Troy's marching band were right up there together. They were great bands, and of course Jacksonville had the ballerinas, those beautiful high-stepping girls. They was what would you say they were like?
I think they're called the Dancing Southerners.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
that.
Yeah, that's right. And then they had a great song that brings you back to Jacksonville. Was "Stars Fell on Alabama." You remember that song?
Yeah.
That was one of Jacksonville's theme songs, and that was a beautiful song that they used to play. And I wish they'd bring a pep band down here. That would tickle me to see the two pep bands get together. Jacksonville State.
Well,
Man.
it should be a good crowd, I would hope. I guess, is Troy still in school, or are they out for the break?
Oh no, they're still in school. What kind of break you talking about? Oh, Thanksgiving.
Well,
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
they're not gone yet. But I'm just looking at some traditions of those two teams, and I can remember Coach Jones, their coach. I saw him not too long ago. They had one ring on one hand and two on the other. He's won several championships, but he and Don Maester used to have some real battles.
Troy said when their best basketball teams ever there played in the NCAA regional and actually lost the first game. I'll never forget. And then came back and won like a consolation game, but that was actually in Jacksonville to go to the Final Four.
Oh yeah.
Jack Smith was on that team, and I want to say McCord, all those great players were on that team. But that was a disappointing loss for Troy basketball. I remember up at the regional in Jackson.
Well, you know, it was a real heat. It was a heated rivalry wherever you played, and now I'm glad
their gym by far was not the nicest in the Gulf South Conference for years. I mean, their gym held 5,000 people.
And now,
fact, you know,
but now you know they had that gym, but it's outdated, terribly outdated.
It is now. I mean, of course, we never envisioned a Trojan arena. You know, we were just so used to Sartain Hall. But back in the day, their facilities were through the roof. And then their baseball stadium was a joke. Their baseball stadium was like the tiniest little stadium ever.
Yeah, and you know, I tell you what, one day, and I was awfully proud of this Troy win over Jacksonville. I was late getting to the game in Jacksonville, and this is a fact now, I'm going to tell you. And I was walking through the left field parking lot, right at the left field fence, and I picked up 2 baseballs that were hit over the fence, and they were rolling down toward a sewer, so I reached down and grabbed it too. Troy had hit 2 home runs, and I think they scored 8 runs in the first inning. And Mike, I saw Troy beat Jacksonville 25-6 one afternoon at Jacksonville. Hey, you didn't do that much under their great coach,
Rudy Abbott.
Rudy Abbott, but you talking about rivalry though in baseball and basketball and in football. That was a great rivalry. I don't know.
What do you think made Troy have the bigger rivalry with Jack State compared to like Livingston and UNA? I mean, what made Jack State different? The bands being so great?
The bands had a lot to do with it, but the teams too. You know, they were just the coaches. They didn't like each other, and I don't believe it. I don't believe it was a friendly deal at all. But I'll tell you this: in North Alabama, we had a rivalry with North Alabama quite a bit, but not quite like Jacksonville. Not a hated rivalry like Jacksonville. And of course, we've had some big games with North Alabama over the years too, and they've always been good. I tell you what, you take Troy, Jacksonville State, and North Alabama, those 3 teams right there. They were 3 of the top teams of its kind in the nation. They were good, very good. And you know, and each year they would be similarly well balanced teams. So. It was always a tough game. You know, I've seen games at North Alabama that I hated. I ran into Perry Griggs, one of the all-time great receivers in Troy history, and he went on to play with the Jets and played pro ball for a while. But he was just a great player, kick, return, and wide receiver. But on the last, listen to this, Mike. They were playing. Bobby Lee was the quarterback, and North Alabama had us down. We were on around the 23-yard line. I mentioned this several times. 23-yard line, and it had one play to beat them. And they threw a long pass right down the middle of the field at Perry Griggs, whose vertical leap, I heard this now. I heard his vertical leap was 44 inches, which was just phenomenal. He jumped up over about 3 defenders, and it seemed like all 3 defenders just rammed together, and Perry was just a foot above them. He caught the ball, went down to about one arm, 2 legs and 1 arm, got his balance, and outran everybody for a touchdown. And Troy won the game on the last play of the game, homecoming at UNA, at our Florence State Teachers College. That was a great victory. And from Bobby Lee, Mike, to Perry Griggs. You remember Bobby Lee too, don't you? Hello. I lost him somehow. But we'll...
was that game in Tallahassee?
No, it wasn't in Tallahassee, Mike. It was Florence.
Florida State Teachers College.
Oh, I did. I said Florence State College. I didn't say, Florence State College was their name back then. And Troy was Troy State College, and Jacksonville was Jacksonville State. And before that, they were Jacksonville State Teachers College, Florence State Teachers College, and Troy State Teachers College, and also Livingston State Teachers College. So that's how it worked. And now we're Division I. And Jacksonville, by the luck out of their chinny chin chin, they became one of the most. This is that has just happened to Jacksonville. They were allowed to enter into the Conference USA and become a Division 1A team, just like Troy and just like Alabama, just like Auburn. Jacksonville State has pulled it off, and they probably would have taken them years to move to that 1A standing, but the conference affiliation put them in there. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I mean, good for them. I mean, they won several conference championships in 1AA, and, you know, they've been 1A for several years in every other sport. I didn't think that market was good enough to go 1A, but obviously Conference USA, I wouldn't say they were desperate, but they had to find some teams, and
well,
I felt like the facilities that Johnny Williams helped build, you know, they already had a 27,000-seat stadium. They already had a 1,000-seat gym. I mean, they, you know, had the facilities already, and I think they're even going to expand the stadium to around 35,000.
Well, let me tell you a little something that they did. And ladies and gentlemen, you can, on one end of the stadium is their field house. And then they have more of an open area that Paul Snowman Stadium is the name of the stadium. And Johnny came up with this idea: put a new section up. And what they did, they put a dorm there. They built a 6-8-story dorm, and on one side is a dorm, and on the other side is seats, football seats, stadium seats. And they're fixing to do the same thing on the other side. It's going to be a gigantic-looking stadium with the dorms, the high-level dorms on both sides, and then on the other side, football seats. Can you believe that?
No, it's a great idea. I mean,
it's a great idea. What they're doing, they're killing two birds with one stone, and that's why they're doing it. They're building dorms, and then on the other side, the back side of the dorms, they're putting football bleachers up high.
Yeah, I was going to mention that Troy's athletic department is going to have a event on January the 15th, 2022, celebrating 30 years since Troy scored 258 points against the Bra.
Oh, boy.
They're going to have 1990 jerseys they're going to don. The team's going to wear with Troy State across the chest. The 1992 squad responsible for setting the record will hopefully be there. They're going to be honoring Coach Maestri. All members are invited back. Troy guests will receive free tickets to be a part of the halftime presentation for the 92 basketball team. Also, all the fans will be given a Troy State T-shirt with the old Troy mascot on it. You remember the guy with the black beard?
Yeah, I like that. I liked him. I don't know why they did away with the black beard Trojan.
And then on the back, the back of the T-shirt will be sponsored by Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Troy, Alabama. Jason Gregory is going to be a part of this as well.
Yeah.
They're going to do rally towels. Should be fun. 2,000 T-shirts will be given away.
Oh, I tell you, Jason Gregory is the best thing ever happened to Troy, Alabama. I'm telling you, in the last few years, I promise you, his leadership and his wonderful support of our programs.
Records broken that day. Inside the numbers, NCAA records for most points in the game, 258. Previous record was held by Troy at 187 in 1991. NCAA record for most points in a half twice, 135 in the second half, broke the record of 123 set by Troy State in the first half. NCAA record for most field goals in the game, 102. Previous record was 79. NCAA record for most field goals attempted in the game, 190. This is the 258 game that Troy scored. NCAA field goals for most three-pointers in the game, 51.
Boy, that is
25.
phenomenal. That is phenomenal. 51 compared to the most ever was 25 or 27.
NCAA record for most players on one team to make a 3-point field goal, 10. NCAA Division II record for most assists in a game, 65.
Oh,
Can't believe
boy.
that's a Division II record only. 2 teams combined to score 1 point every 6 seconds. Look at that.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Troy had 28 slam dunks.
28.
DeVry attempts. This might be the craziest stat of the 258 game. DeVry attempted 0 free throws.
Oh man, it's unreal. Now they had a guy. If I remember.
That means at no point they went to the free throw line.
Yeah, Michael, I'm thinking back. I think they had a guy that scored 57 points. Is that right?
Yeah, their guard scored a lot.
They had a player that scored 57 points in that game, I think. But
another crazy stat. The Trojans committed only 1 foul the whole game. all 11 Troy players scored, and 10 finished in double figures.
Yeah.
Troy averaged 121 points per game in 1992.
Led the
setting a
nation
new NCAA record.
by far. Yeah. Is it still a record, Mike?
Yeah, it's an NCAA record. Yeah.
120-something points a game, which is phenomenal. I tell you, that is something. Now, I can remember some of the players, but help me, Mike, the 2 boys from Kentucky.
Yeah, that was Simpson and Steve Hunt.
And Hunt. There was Simpson and Hunt. Both of these kids were scholarship players out of Kentucky.
I mean, the greatest player on the team was McCord.
Yeah, McCord. Gary McCord was.
And then the guy that was like the glue of the team was Andy Davis.
Oh yeah, you're right. Davis was a great one.
And then you had, a lot of guys really dunked. They had a guy off the bench named Bryant that was like a freshman or sophomore that could jump out of the gym.
Yeah.
Tim Faithful from Troy.
That's right. Charles Simpson coach was on that team. He scored double figures, I think, in that game.
I'm trying to think.
Now, did his brother play in that team, Mike, or did he graduate before then?
No, he was way before that. There were some great point guards Troy had on that team too.
Oh yeah, well, the great one himself out of Atlanta, he was on that team, wasn't he?
No, Daryl Thomas wasn't on that.
Oh, he wasn't. Okay. But
I don't know. We'll find out more.
You're right.
But this is not until January 15th. But that would be something to be in town for.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be a big event, and I'm glad they're doing it, and it's going to be really wonderful to rehash all that and bring back those memories and bring Coach Maestri and Coach Felix back to town. And if I had their phone number, I'd call them. I'd call Coach Maestri. I'm going to try to get it either sometime today. Of course, Mike.
Yeah, we could get it maybe when football season's over. We're finally into basketball mode. I'm still not into basketball mode yet.
Yeah, well, I am. When you play Jacksonville State, you'll get it in a hurry.
Who won the football game last night?
I didn't even stay up for it. I fell asleep, slept through the thing, I think. Do you know?
Man, big news here. Great job just came open. Virginia Tech fires Justin Fuente as football coach. So the Virginia Tech job is open. That'd be a great job for somebody to have in the ACC. Butch Davis is out at Florida International. Of course, Butch Davis had a great teams at Miami. Ended up coaching the pros for different teams. Washington fired Jimmy Lake, so the Washington job's open, the USC job's open, and we're just getting started. There's going to be plenty of more firings before it's all said and done.
And you're exactly right. Want to mention, of course, several big high school games that are coming up too.
Jacksonville State's also looking for a coach in football. We forgot about that.
Yeah. I'm sure, if you looked at this guy's record, you would say, why on earth do they swap coaches? But they might think that they need to hire a big-name coach, and that's what they're probably going to do. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
Throat like I do.
Yeah, you're right. I've got something causing all this. But
we got also tonight. South Alabama travels to The University of Alabama plays basketball tonight.
They'll have to play.
40,
I shouldn't say that.
49ers won last night over the Rams.
What was the score? Do you know?
I have to find the score.
Yeah.
South Alabama's on the road in football this week against Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. That'll be a high-scoring game. But South Alabama lost their.
South Alabama losing their quarterback Jay Bentley's really hurt them.
That means Troy has knocked out two of the prime quarterbacks in the conference. Is that right, Mike?
Well, yeah, they knocked out the best quarterback for sure. Grace McCall at Coastal.
Yeah.
And then now Jake Bentley's out as well. That's why you got to always have backup quarterbacks ready to go.
And Bentley was the kid that his daddy was the coach at Opelika High School, and
then got the running back coach job at South Carolina.
Yeah, that's right. And
yeah, it's a situation where Bentley is taking advantage of having a 6-year to play college football. He played 4 at South Carolina, 1 at Utah, and now 1 at South Alabama.
You know, right here at North Alabama, at the University, at Jacksonville State, or Jacksonville State University, who would be a good pick for them if you had if you could name a person?
I mean, you'll like what I'm about to say, and I think this guy's ready to be a head coach, but I don't think he's a big enough name. But Bryant Benson at UAB would be a great coach.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be a great coach, no question about it.
I just don't think he's a home run hire.
No, he's not what you call a big name. Who would be
Clark? You know, he's been with Clark for several years, and I'm sure they would like to get a guy like Clark.
Yeah.
You know, but you might look at a name like Will Muschamp if he wants to start back and get a head coaching job.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he's sitting over there in Athens, Georgia.
That's right. That'd give him a pretty big name right there.
Gene Chiswick's right down the road in Auburn.
Yeah, exactly. Very good choice. You're right.
But a lot of people, from what I hear, and this is a local connection here because he's married to a local Troy girl, is would Jeremy Pruitt want to get back and start at that level in 1A.
Yeah, you're right.
So Jeremy Pruitt is now like a linebacker coach for the New York Giants.
And that's their part. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. Jacksonville is hill country now. You want your introduction to the good old country style laid back personalities. Jacksonville is definitely one of the places you want to go.
I know Muschamp's from Rome, Georgia.
Yeah.
Around that area. His family actually have a place at Menthon, I've heard, which is just right up Lookout Mountain.
You got more information in your brain than anybody. People used to tell me I had information in my brain. Well, if I did, it's gone into my son's name brain right now. What do you say?
I mean, other coaches. I mean, there's going to be coordinators and you know, up and coming coaches that want a Division I job. So we'll see what happens.
You know, exactly. I could see those guys, every one of them, lined up to try to get that Jacksonville job. They're probably going to pay close to $1 million for a coach, wouldn't you think?
Well, you got a lot of money in that program. I know one of them's one of the, you know, the front man for probably the greatest country band of all time, Alabama.
Yeah, the group. You know, I think he's still on their board. I want to say.
Yeah. He's over the board of trustees. Yeah. Randy Owens.
So Randy Owens, whoever Randy Owens wants is going to get the Jacksonville job. You're right. And you know,
I mean, there's going to be a lot of jobs coming open, and Middle Tennessee State job will probably come open as well. I imagine Stocksville's time is about.
It's time to get him. It's time to get him. You're right.
He's been up there for 15 years. I actually have a neighbor here in Creighton, and he lived in Murfreesboro for years. And used to attend all those Troy Middle Tennessee State games. He told me point blank. He said Troy used to just whip us.
I mean, Larry Blakeney owned two teams. I'll tell you for sure. Middle Tennessee, and the other one was Jacksonville State. He beat Jacksonville State 9 straight times, Mike. That's saying a lot.
But the only team that had Larry's number was Arkansas State. Larry could never beat Arkansas State.
Yeah, he had a hard time with them. You're right, he sure did. And he had a pretty tough time with Louisiana Monroe. You know, they weren't supposed to play with him, but that was the problem. Everybody said they weren't playing, and they wouldn't play up to what they had to do to beat them.
I guess you got to mention also, Rich Rodriguez is over at Loma Monroe.
Oh yeah,
sure
he won. He would be a great one because he was a West Virginia guy, you know.
I mean, Jacksonville in Conference USA should be pretty successful. I mean, it's gonna be a lot tougher now though, since Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee State have decided to stay, and then Louisiana Tech's pretty good.
Yeah.
But then you're at New Mexico State. Sam Houston State now is a powerhouse.
Yeah, that's a pretty good. That's a good program.
Really good 1A program.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good program. You know,
we'll see what happens.
What I'd like to do, I'd like for you to list and do it side by side. Try to list the teams that are in the Sun Belt Conference and in the Conference USA. It tickled me to sort of see them lined up beside each other. Can you do that?
I'll have to find the new Conference USA.
Yeah. Coach Rice made it back. Did your wife
give you a after action report?
Yeah. Did your wife chew you out?
Nope, because she does things like that too. She's real.
Tell it what happened.
Like the other day, she lost our debit card, and she was afraid I'd be upset. And I said, "Well, honey, why could I be upset? Because I lose it 3 times more than you lose it." But okay, I get home as fast as I can, and they're sitting on the steps waiting for me. Sevens.
So they got the good car. You're right.
Yeah, that's the good car. And,
well, I mean, everybody has a good car. My wife has a good car too.
My car is about 11 years old, and I just drive it to this show and back and pick up the kids, and that's it.
That's right.
But it still works and it's paid for, so we're going to use
Exactly.
I said, all right, so the key to the operation is not making Mama late. She's got school students waiting for her.
Yeah.
I said, you go to school, I'll take the kids. And so I just went to the Troy Elementary School and took Jack and Maggie.
You're bound to get in a track fit jam, aren't you?
It's much better in the morning than the afternoon because people are coming at different times. So I really zip in there. Also, Jack goes to the kindergarten, the Hank Jones kindergarten.
Yeah.
Maggie goes to the big elementary school that has 1st through 6th grade.
Yeah, that's right.
But they both go to the same school in the morning. So Jack goes somewhere in or Miss Kitchens, the librarian, Belinda, who I went to school with.
Yeah.
She takes care of little Jack, and at some point, Jack walks with the other little kindergarten kids from the big school over to the kindergarten.
Oh gosh, what a day!
So that's Belinda Dykes Kitchens.
Yeah, sweet lady.
That family had the florist shop.
Yeah.
For all those many years.
Yeah, she's a great girl. Appreciate her.
So that was, but anyway, thank goodness I had my phone and my phone on, because when it rang, I said, I sometimes do. I just, without even thinking, I get both sets of car keys. Why do I do it, Mike? I don't know.
Well, I have what they call a fob, that opens, I don't have an actual key. I have a fob, and I'm supposed to always be carrying it in my pocket. Well, there's been a few times where I forgot to
have your fob.
Forgot which pocket it was in or whatever.
Oh, I've driven your truck that you got from Jason. It's beautiful, but it freaks me out. For you don't have to have a key to turn it on, and you don't even have a gear shift to put it in park and reverse or drive. You just turn it like a little knob.
I know it, exactly.
I guess that's standard on all cars, but.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about Conference USA, the Jag State job being open. So Jag State, Liberty, New Mexico State, Sam Houston State will join in 2023. They'll be in the conference for Florida International, who fired their coach Butch Davis, Louisiana Tech, and UTEP. So that's going to be 7 schools there, and then Middle Tennessee and Western Kentucky have decided to stay. So that's 9 schools. In Conference USA, you would think they'd have to add one more, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, you would think so. I do.
it used to be remember the Big Eight? That was a thing. That was Nebraska, Oklahoma, and 6 more teams. So.
I tell you what, yeah. Mike, which team would you think would be?
Virginia Tech just fired their coach too. Justin Fuentes out of Virginia Tech.
I wonder how many coaching jobs we'll have this season.
Yeah.
Seems like every year you have about 15, don't you? 15.
You think there's any chance of Shane Beamer, after 1 year at South Carolina, if they would try to make the move and get him to come to Virginia Tech?
I would think that his daddy would still have a lot of clout at Virginia Tech. Wouldn't y'all think? I mean, he was a legendary coach there for years.
Well, if he doesn't, he should.
And I would think he'd have some votes on the board too, wouldn't you think?
So anyway, this is your comparison. We just gave you the schools from Conference USA. It's obvious.
All right, slow it down a little bit. So I'm right.
I mean, the Sun Belt's a lot better league because you've got Texas State, La Monroe, Louisiana Lafayette, Arkansas State. Then you've got Southern Miss, South Alabama, Troy, Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina, App State, and then you've got, I'm just doing this by memory.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good.
Marshall.
Who else?
Marshall. Oh, God.
And then now James Madison and
James Madison.
Marshall, James Madison, Old Dominion.
Oh, boy. I looked up, I was making fun of Old Dominion. Shoot, they're beating everybody in football. They've got a great team, Man, that's a tough league. But, the other league.
There's no doubt that the Sun Belt has, a better conference up and down, for sure.
I bet they'll have some bowl tie-ins somewhere, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, here it is, right here. Okay, so the additional Marshall will bring the number of Sun Belt members to 15. They're thinking Arkansas, Little Rock, and Texas Arlington will leave, and all other sports.
And they're in all sports except for football. Yeah. But
and now James Madison. So basically, that would be put him at 16, and then if you got rid of Little Rock and Arlington, you'd have 14 teams that play all sports.
That's
going to be the same as the SEC. Yeah. So you're going to have two.
SEC is going to be 16.
Oh yeah. So you're going to have 2 7-team divisions, I guess, and I think we've all agreed that they'll move Troy over to the West.
They think.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. You were talking about the team out of Virginia.
Old Dominion.
Not
James Madison.
James Madison, a very good Division I AA program. And then they were a team that was always wanting to get in, to go Division 1A like Troy did, and they never got the opportunity. But now they do, and that is a real good program in James Madison. And a little trivia on this side, they march 440 band members. What I'm saying, they're big in the bands too. So
that'll be a good fit.
A lot of pageantry there.
Most of your Sun Belt teams, not most, but half, had a rich tradition at the lower levels. That's the model for the Sun Belt, and James Madison applies. Georgia Southern applies.
Hey, can we take a break?
And we'll take a break right now. We'll be right back.
Payment. No payments till February 2022. That's right. It's November at Premier Shop Premier Trading Account. And the most important nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
At Cost Plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
Run it. Welcome to ESPN College Football. This is going to be wild. Run it.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for. So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Take care of that later?
That's exactly right. They could have done it later. But they sat there and asked her all these damn questions and all that.
All right, we're back on the air.
Whoa. Back to the show, and we were talking about some of these great rivalries. Some of these great rivalries, Michael, and I had a little slip this morning talking about those Gamecocks. You know that it's very, very competitive, and I'm not saying that these new conferences are going to bring them back to the same competitive
level as Troy.
level that we of Troy and big rivalries. But I would think that they'll run into each other quite a bit in scheduling. Different other Jacksonville in baseball. They've been playing with baseball. They're back playing them in basketball, and they'll probably be. I don't know if they'll play football against each other or not. I really don't know.
I bet they will one day.
Iron Bowl's been set. Anybody want to know the time of the Iron Bowl? The Iron Bowl will be 2:30 on CBS.
And then for the 7th straight year, they've got the number one television channel there is CBS. Isn't that right? As far as what?
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody can watch it, even if you had funny years.
Yeah, that's right. But and of course, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, they could have. If Auburn could have won the last 2 games, they could be playing for a national championship in that game, but nope.
And I tell you what, the new quarterback brings a lot to the table as far as he's
Boy, wouldn't Auburn
very,
be in
very
trouble?
athletic.
Wouldn't Auburn be in trouble if they hadn't gone out and got him?
He looked pretty bad against Alabama last year when he started. He was awful.
Yeah, well, he did start it against them last year.
Oh yeah, when Alabama put 55 on LSU at Baton Rouge, Finley got pulled late in the game.
Okay, against he was playing for LSU.
They brought in Johnson, but I don't know. I watched him in mop-up, and then he of course won the game against Georgia State, making some throws. But it's definitely going to be a factor. I mean, he's not as good as Bo Nix, or he would have been starting.
Yeah, Mike, let's just talk a little bit about Troy. What was your feeling watching the game?
Well, I mean, I just felt like Lafayette almost kind of toyed with it. It seemed like they could do whatever they wanted to. They didn't really, do anything other than run off tackle. And
they do a thing fancy.
They mixed a few misdirection plays, but hit a ball deep. And I mean, Troy just let a couple guys just get wide open.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you something about the game.
I felt like they just physically felt like they could beat Troy up front on both sides of the ball, and I guess they were right.
I will say this, that the difference in the ball game was their quarterback, by far. The big difference in that ball game. He scored 3 touchdowns, or threw for, well, let's see. He ran for 1, and he passed for 3, I think, something like that. He is an excellent. If you look at what he has done since he's been there, I think he's a 6-year guy. It will just stun you that the results of every game.
He has an incredible winning percentage, so he's a winner. And that's probably why Coach Napier decided to stay there so long. Is he knew he had that leader to lead his team.
Mike, the
biggest thing about Troy is offense. I mean, like, we just consistently can't score points. It's a struggle for Troy to score and other teams score easy. Like when you play the good teams, Coastal scored at will on big plays. Lafayette scored easy. They made those drives look easy. Troy, has to put together long drives. And if you go back and look, you don't count the Southern game because that's a 1AA team. Troy beat them 55-3. But if you look at the rest of the schedule, you know, throughout the year on Troy's offense, Liberty, you lose at home 21-13. You score 13 points. Southern Miss, you don't even score at the half. You're basically shut out in the first half, but you score 3 touchdowns in the second. You win 21-9 over Southern Miss. And then the game we go back to all the time, La Monroe ended up being a lot better than we thought, but they, you know, scored 16 points against La Monroe on the road to get beat 29-16. They go play South Carolina in Columbia. South Carolina's a lot better than we thought they were going to be, but you score 14 points. You get beat 23-14. Then Georgia Southern at home, I think you score 24 in the first half, score only 3 in the second. That's 27 points. You win 27-24. Texas State, you win 31-28, but one of those touchdowns was a pick six by Troy's cornerback late in the fourth quarter to help win the game. So technically, you really only scored 24 in that game. And then Coastal Carolina, you scored 28. Coastal Carolina was probably Troy's best offensive game of the year, in my opinion. And then South Alabama, you scored 31. You win 31-24, don't score in the second half. And then you lose to Louisiana Lafayette 35-21. So, I mean, offensively, Troy is just really struggling.
You're right. That's less than 20 points a game.
Well, here's you can make excuses, I guess, but reasons, but they lose their best receiver, the Texas Tech, in the transfer portal. Get used to that. These big schools are going to come after your best players. They lose Reggie Todd, who could have been really good.
Down the street, Reggie Todd would have made a pretty big difference.
They have
You're right.
injuries to their starting quarterback, who maybe shouldn't have been the starting quarterback.
Whittemore, keep in mind, Whittemore didn't play either. The starting wide receiver.
I know
it.
Yeah, he's turned into a good player.
He's probably the most clutch receiver we got.
Consistent. Right. But it's offensive line play. You can't run the ball consistently, and that sets up everything.
That's the key.
I mean, that's why I've actually pushed that, you know, you need to use this name, image, and likeness thing and go out and buy you the best offensive line you can.
But I mean, if we could go back to the last 2 years, you know, Troy's basically done the exact same thing. We're exactly where we are. Coach Lindsey's first year, we were 5-5 with 2 games left, and we got blown out by Louisiana Lafayette. We got blown out by Appalachian State, didn't go to a bowl. Last year, we finished 5-6, lost a heartbreaking game to Coastal Carolina. You know, if you win that game, you go to 6-5. You were supposed to play La Monroe the last game of the year. La Monroe had so many COVID issues, the coach had been fired. They decided they weren't even going to play Troy. Troy should have won that game by forfeit, but they didn't. So they finished 5-6. So now you're 5-5 again, and you got Appalachian State, probably the most physical team. You know, they're leading the East. You know, they're playing for a conference championship. If they win this game, they'll play Louisiana Lafayette, a rematch for the conference championship. And then you got to play Georgia State, who's trying to get bowl eligible, and playing a bowl game. They're probably the hottest team in the Sun Belt to finish out. So I mean, these players have got to fight for their coaches, and these coaches got to fight for the players, and you know they've got to find a way to win a game.
Yeah, I think that was as good an analysis of what's happened that anybody I've ever heard.
Yeah, that was right on.
That's excellent journalism, son.
I was going to say something, and then I said I don't need to say anything.
The problem is I care too much. I care too much about this program. It's just you know, I'm just hoping we can find a way to win.
You know, there are a lot of guys out there just like you, Mike, that are concerned about it, and you know, gosh, but you know, you got to look at it. You know, Louisiana, and then take Appalachian State, and then take Coastal Carolina. Those are 3 teams that are very, very good. You know that. Now let me tell you a story. You're gonna get a kick out of this. I was riding down the road yesterday, and I got a call from a guy. His name was Cone, C-O-N-E. He was from over in Georgia, near Atlanta, Georgia. Michael, his son-in-law was Billy Bryce. Do you remember Billy Bryce that played baseball for Troy? You remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Billy Bryce.
Yeah.
All right, hear this. Billy Bryce, his son, is the starting quarterback at Appalachian State.
Is that right?
He's the starting quarterback at
you got to
Appalachian
remember,
State.
he backed up Trevor Lawrence at Clemson.
He backed up
well.
Trevor. You're right. He backed up Trevor Lawrence. His name is. Listen to this. His name is Chase Cone.
No, Chase Bryce.
Right? No, excuse me, Chase Bryce. No, but all right, wait a minute.
That's right. His last name.
Yeah, Chase Bryce. Chase Bryce, and I want all these people out there to hear this.
We got a Troy connection.
His name is Chase Bryce.
Chase.
And he is one of so many people that named their son after Chase Riddle.
Wow.
And he said that Bobby Bryce idolized Chase Riddle.
How about that?
And
so we got both roles.
His son is named after the great Chase Riddle.
And he's going to be quarterbacking against the Trojans.
Quarterback against us this weekend, and they say he's a good quarterback too.
I remember when he came in and won a game for Clemson when Lawrence got hurt.
And there was another kid named Cone that played in the secondary at Clemson that was related to him too. And I was hoping to get a phone call from him this morning. I might try to call him tomorrow.
Chase Bryce has thrown for 2,500 yards this year.
Already, that's this guy that was named after Chase Riddle here at our legendary baseball coach.
17 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. He also was the starting quarterback at Duke the year before.
So he's played at Clemson.
You know, I didn't put that together.
And Appalachian State.
Isn't that right? Isn't that something? And he was a good quarterback at Duke, too. He was a starter, wasn't he?
Well, Duke, he was the starter, but Duke kind of struggled that year. But a lot of teams struggled due to COVID.
Yeah. But, isn't that something?
That's a good story, Mike.
I thought it was.
Golly, that is amazing. Somebody ought to write a little book or a little article about all the kids named Chase.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, exactly. And, I was talking to Billy, not Billy Bryce, but my buddy whose wife just went into the Hall of Fame.
Swanson?
Yeah, Swanson. Kuda Swanson. Kuda Swanson.
Yeah, they named their son Chase.
That's right. Yeah, and of course, the other son's named Dansby. Is that right?
Yeah, he's a World Series champion.
Who's a pretty good shortstop for the Atlanta Braves.
He hit 27 home runs this year. He actually had he was that shortstop when they hit the ground ball. He got the last out for the Braves.
Yeah,
the guy out.
He's a great story because he grew up in Atlanta, in the Atlanta metro area, so he knows all about the tradition of the Braves. He's the homegrown boy.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you this. Cooter played for Coach Riddle the last couple of years, but he was actually signed by my good friend Joe Hollis, who was an excellent baseball coach in his own right. Did you know that?
Yeah, he
All-American at Auburn. I know
he was in the transition from Hollis to Chase.
Yeah, exactly right. And Hollis wanted to coach football, and later on, listen to this. He went to Georgia and was their offensive coordinator, and then later on at Ohio State, he was their offensive coordinator.
After being the baseball coach at Troy?
After being a baseball coach at Troy.
How they dang.
Because he wanted to coach
He wanted to coach football. He wanted to coach football.
And he was a fine high school player. But at Auburn,
Chase Riddle could have been a great football coach, don't you?
He would have been great football player. They said, they compare Bobby Marlowe with him. They said Chase wasn't far back. Chase might have been a step slower than Bobby Marlowe.
He was an All-American, wasn't he? A little All-American.
Oh yeah, he was a little All-American. You're right. He might have. He was in contention for that small college award.
If Chase, he just went into baseball, but if he had gone into football, he would have been just as successful as a football coach.
Oh, yeah. I tell you this. I'll know this. I'll tell you this. I've had great admiration for a lot of people, but I got to know Chase. I've been hunting with Chase. I've been cooking steaks with Chase. And I've cut his grass. I've done all kinds of things because I love Chase Riddle. And people that know where I'm coming from, he's one of the great people of all time.
That was one of the best. Ralph Adams hired him
Yeah,
Robert Earl Stewart.
Well, Robert Earl Stewart hired him, but Chase, hey, Dr. Adams told him to hire him. That is a fact. Because because I've been at the same parties they've been at. I've eaten the same food they've been at. Dr. Adams and Chase Riddle were very good friends before he was a head baseball coach at Troy.
Ralph Adams really liked the baseball team too, didn't he?
He sure did. And why not? Why not? I tell you.
Everybody. My mom would go to the games. My grandfather Hickey, that whole mafia.
Oh yeah. Hilton Fowler, Joe Dodson.
I went to them. I can remember Dan's. Cooter Swanson, because his name was so original.
Yeah,
I can remember Cooter Swanson being on the first Chase Riddle team.
That's right.
And my mom talking about Cooter Swanson.
This is how we get carried away at different conversation, and I reckon that's what makes us good. I hope that you enjoy listening to these different stories.
It would be interesting to learn how many people, former players or admirers of Chase Riddle, named their children Chase. A lot.
Oh yeah. How about the young man that's getting married, the head baseball coach at Charles Henderson, Chase Smart. and it just goes on and on.
We talking about programs. We've talked a lot about football, but I hear through the grapevine that Charles Henderson's going to have a really good basketball team this year.
They beat Carroll High Ozark, a very good team, last Saturday, I reckon. Friday.
Well, Tim Fason's the coach, and he inherited a good team with some young talent, and then he's got some football players that have come over that we know are real good athletes.
I tell you what, Rice, let's get tickets to the next Charles Henderson home game. That'll be a lot of fun. Of course, Troy plays Jacksonville State tonight, and Michael is, Mike, you're giving us such good information. It really makes us feel good to know that we can relate to all phases of athletics at Troy.
Troy needs to win one of these big games, signature year-changing games. They've been close and competitive. Yeah. You can't say they've laid an egg, really, or been awful.
All right, let me ask you this question. Mike,
they just can't get over the hump.
Yeah. Mike, give us our coach's best win, or what do we call it?
The best ones, you talking about football for coaches?
Yeah, in football, yeah.
It's probably the South Alabama win this year when South Alabama was 5-3.
All right, but since he's been here 3 years so far,
I think that's probably going to be it.
Now, if they beat Appalachian this week, that would be by far his signature win.
Yeah, that's no doubt. That would be the biggest one.
Troy has been competitive against Coastal Carolina and Louisiana and all these other programs. If the one bounce went the right way, maybe they could win these games, but that's not the case with Appalachian State. They have gotten whipped soundly, for 3 years in a row?
Yeah. And I'll tell you something about them that might be a little edge. Now, Troy, I thought this year had a more physical team than I've ever seen them have under Coach Lindsey. But, you're talking about Appalachian State, you're talking about Louisiana, you're talking about Coastal. They jump out to you how physical they are, Mike. And who is the next closest?
I just don't know how they recruit to the mountains of North Carolina like that.
I don't know. It's beautiful country.
If I was a student and they were recruiting me, I would say, I want to look at it. Yeah. I want to go to a beautiful town.
But we get to eat at Julia's restaurant. Man, our players get to eat at Julia's, get their hair cut at Raymond's. You can't beat that. Of course, buying the grill from my buddy at Southern Grill and Patio, and how about going by Mama Goldberg?
Yeah, that's got a great atmosphere.
Eating, let me tell you, a good sandwich, but a good old hot bowl of chili. Mm-hmm. Man, it's good.
I love their decor and ambiance inside. It's really neat.
I want to congratulate the people that cook out at Troy University for the, I'm in the stadium club, And I'm telling you, they had the best gumbo I think I've ever eaten. Mike, they had huge chunks of sausage, our favorite sausage, and of course they had shrimp, and they had okra, and they had it was just wonderful, and it was made by our staff here at Troy State, Troy University.
I'm guessing you're saying Kelly sausage.
Yeah, Kelly sausage.
Kelly's anymore.
Well, you're still there. Kelly's is still there. Let me tell you this.
I thought they got bought out by some big boy.
Yeah, let me tell you this. That's happening in New Brockton, Alabama. The largest meat processing plant, maybe in the southeast, is going to be located in New Brockton, Alabama, and they're going to change the name with most of their products, but they're keeping Kelly Sausage's name.
They're keeping the name, but Kelly Sausage.
And of course, it is wonderful, wonderful sausage, and I've been talking about it on my shows for years, and you can't beat Kelly
Well,
sausage.
that's good for New Brockton. New Brockton's good for Troy and Pike County because New Brockton's only about 20 miles from 25 miles.
They'll be hiring some Pike County people for this. This is a huge plant. Goes nationwide.
If you want to do a recap of Troy last year, I felt like this was the best game Troy's played since Lindsey was head coach. They blew out Middle Tennessee 47-14 to start the season last year.
Yeah.
That was a great
Troy
game.
looked dominant, and that game was actually on ESPN. But then they fell to BYU 48-7. They beat Texas State 37-17. They had a miracle win, comeback win, kicked a 48-yard field goal to beat a 1AA Eastern Kentucky 31-29. They lost at home to Georgia State 36-34. Dad, you thought this was a great win at the time, but Arkansas State only won 3 games last year. They beat Arkansas State at Arkansas State 38-10.
Yeah, that was
that was the best win.
You know what? I would say that was it, because they totally destroyed a team that had played us about as good as anybody.
At the time, we felt was good because they had beat Kansas State, Arkansas State last year.
That's
the young man from Bradley, Alabama, was the star of that game, Mike.
Yeah, threw for 400 yards, Jacob Free. Then you lose on the road at Georgia Southern 20-13.
We should have won that game, I thought.
This is a loss I think Troy fans will never forget. You blow out Middle Tennessee 47-14 to start the season, and then you lose at home somehow 20-17 after blowing them out, and then you get beat by App State 47-10 on the road. South Alabama game last year was impressive. I know you went to that game, Dad. They won 29-0.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Basically got Steve Campbell fired at South Alabama, and then they lost the heartbreaking game to Coastal Carolina 42-38. And then the Law Monroe game got canceled, so they finished 5-6.
Yeah. Well, that's and
so
right.
That's just a comparison from this year to last year.
Let me tell you this, though. Let me tell you this. If we could win one of the next 2 and go to a bowl game, we'll forget about everything else that's happened. We're going to a bowl, and I mean that's what people will look at it.
Well,
and,
if you could win the next 2 if you win the next 2, it's not a terrible year. It's an okay year.
Mike, you went with me to the Georgia State game the last time we played over there, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Well, let me tell you this.
350 yards.
I said that day after that game, Rice, that was the fastest team I've ever seen play in college football. I'm talking about as far as going to the line of scrimmage and setting up.
Oh, yeah, I see, yeah.
Mike, they ran it as fast as anybody I've ever seen. And, of course, who's the guru of fast football, Mike?
Well, now Ole Miss does it. And
Ole Miss is pretty fast, real fast.
Tennessee's the fastest.
Tennessee is the fastest now. That Georgia State game, I don't think they run that fast now because they got that good running back. But they used to run it.
Gus Malzahn used to run it fast as anybody.
It was 2 years ago. 2 years ago at Georgia State, I thought it was the fastest team I've ever seen. Going to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But Of course, we got a lot of big high school games coming up, Mike.
Well, we got to get Pike Liberal Arts has got to hang in there one more week.
Yeah, of course, they're
led by Rush Hickson now. A friend of the show calls in on the show sometimes.
Oh yeah, exactly right. And
great family.
Billy, that's right.
Billy is his dad.
Yeah.
So the program is in fine hands. He's probably just an interim coach, but that's the perfect guy to be the interim coach.
Well, I tell you what, he could do it all because he's proven himself, as an excellent baseball coach, and he knows football. He played football and knows football quite well. I was looking at the.
I don't know if Cornelius would want to fool with it, but he'd be a great head coach.
Oh, wouldn't he? Wouldn't he be? You'd have people wanting to play for them all over the country. I want to mention.
I don't know if he wants to do it, but if he doesn't want to do it, boy, they'll be lining up out the door to get that Pike lift job with all that talent out there.
All right, I wanted to mention this morning. Pike Liberal Arts plays Tuscaloosa Academy in Montgomery at Cramden Bowl. Mike, it's the 7 o'clock kickoff this next Friday night. So they get the main game.
Is this Friday night?
This Friday night. What did I say?
Next Friday night.
Next Friday night.
Well, next Friday night is this Friday night.
Okay.
This Friday night, I would.
That's all right. It's just whatever. Wednesday, Friday, 3 nights from now.
Pike Liberal Arts 11-1, Tuscaloosa Academy 7-4. They play for the state championship at Cramden Bowl.
Hadn't Pike already played Tuscaloosa Academy?
And then.
Yeah, I'm about to find that score.
All right, and then the 3:30 game pitched the AA state championship game.
Ooh, that's the
between Autauga 12-0 and Escambia 11-1. 3:30 kickoff.
I know who I'm pulling for in that one.
And I'm already saying I'm gonna go to see both games. That'll be.
Coach Fountain is one of the classiest guys you've ever meet, and he's leading Escambia. They talked about Coach Fountain's brother, who is the special teams coach at Arkansas.
I heard
Gene Chiswick on the SEC Network wrap-up said a shout-out to Scott Fountain, who called a key fake field goal that went for about 30 yards, turned the game around, really.
Is that what he did? He did?
Yeah, Coach Fountain, the one that put the runner back on the kick six that said, hey, Coach, why don't we put a guy back there and catch this ball?
He sure did. But what are he doing against Arkansas? I didn't know that. For Arkansas?
He's their special teams coordinator.
Yeah.
So he's on that great staff that has changed the culture at Arkansas. Not surprising. And then I think Coach Fountain has a son that's a graduate assistant or something on that staff.
I tell you what, people.
October 1st, Pike Liberal Arts went to Tuscaloosa Academy and won 42-14.
Yeah, and they play them again for the state championship. That's what we've been talking about.
Do you think Tuscaloosa Academy can come up with an amazing game plan and pull up that upset after getting beat 42-14?
I don't know.
It'll be some turnaround if they do.
There's been some turnaround over at Pike, so it could happen. I want to mention, of course, the game between Autauga and Escambia. That should be a great game, and of course, the coach at Autauga is the guy that led Edgewood to so many straight victories. Mike, what's his name? Do you know, Mike?
Coach Carr.
Coach Carr is a
and
phenomenal.
They won. How many did they win? They won like 5 state championships in a row.
And won several
like 7
games.
out of 9 state championships, and then they also won a bunch in baseball too.
And let me ask you this: why they're not in Class 3A with Pike and all the rest of them? Those two teams ought to be in the big boys league because they're probably the best 2 teams in the private schools.
Well, they don't have the number of students, but yeah.
That's right, 2A, and then the final game pits Lowndes Academy, a long-standing school there, 10-3 versus Jackson Academy, 10-1, and
Wouldn't you love to have that game, all three of those games in Troy again, though?
Yeah, I know it.
We could definitely go watch we'd definitely go watch Pike, but I mean Edgewood and Otago would be a great game.
But I doubt that it'll ever happen again. I'm almost
Montgomery's right in the middle of the state.
Well, another thing, they build those facilities, all those facilities in Montgomery to be used by certain people. So
I get it.
You know, they've got the bowl game coming up. Hopefully we'll speak to Johnny Williams on this show tomorrow and talk.
You know, I saw something weird in the. We need to investigate this, Mike. The Headland Charles Henderson game we went to.
Yeah.
Did you notice that Headland's players didn't even go to the locker room at halftime?
Oh,
they went to the end zone like a junior high game.
And you know, I noticed that.
I mean, were they locked out of the locker room, or I don't know. But
I don't know either.
It was weird.
I don't know either.
I would think if you had,
or was it COVID issue?
Well, and another thing I was thinking about though, if Troy was playing at home, I don't believe it was that game.
That's what I'm saying. Would they not let them in because of COVID issues?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they dressed before the game there.
But now I did see this. Actually, you know, in the latter part of the halftime, they did walk up those bleachers to the bathroom.
Oh God!
So they were able to go to the bathroom.
Coach Hambright said they were not able to use the locker rooms at Ladd Stadium when they played down in Mobile this year.
Okay.
This is gone.
You know, they moved all the high school games out of Ladd Stadium after that shooting, and then also they moved the Lending Tree Bowl, the Mobile Bowl that we've been to several times, to South Alabama's new stadium.
Well, and that was smart, you know, thinking then. You know, no question.
So what does that mean? Last Stadium's gonna get the wrecking ball, you think? Legion Field needs the wrecking ball.
Yeah, of course it's been there a long time, and you know, in many Senior Bowls been played in that bowl, that wonderful old facility.
Dad played in the Senior Bowl in the Ladd Stadium. He blocked the punt in the Senior Bowl.
Sure. And of course.
Man, Rice, have you ever seen a punt go that high in the air that got blocked by Alabama? That punt went in the air, I don't know, 100 feet it looked like before it came down.
That was the play that also put Alabama over the number.
Oh, did it?
It's always one special teams play that the wins covers a bet.
Yeah, I was wondering.
I hated it from Moody. He looked like he was going to score a touchdown, got tackled at about the 3.
You know, I think he's one of those players that I wish would play more. That they'd rotate him in and out, but they don't rotate linebackers. I don't get it.
What were you talking about? Who are you talking about, Mike? Moody.
Alabama blocked the punt. They had a linebacker named Moody that, you know, lost his job. He was going to be the starter, but they brought in Henry Toa, the kid from Tennessee, the transfer. And Bryce and I talked about him for Tom Tucker. He's a pretty good player. He just didn't get to play a whole lot for Alabama.
Yeah, but he almost scored a touchdown on that block punt, and the ball did go way up, and they had to wait, you know, forever. And he called it and almost got to the end zone, not quite.
So back to quickly on the Alabama Independent Schools state championship with Pike Liberal Arts 11-1 playing versus Tuscaloosa Academy. That game is a 7 o'clock kickoff, so it'll be the last game of the night. And then you can watch Otago and Escambia at 3:30. So
y'all want to talk about what's our favorite topic of the last year is should Pike Liberal Arts go to the public school league or not?
That right there ought to tell you something, shouldn't it?
Well, let me ask you this. And what we are conjecturing is the reason they're not is families don't want their children not to be able to play for state championships for 2 years. Like there's a little transition period.
Yeah.
We don't know. Is the new coach going to come in here and recruit players all over the Wiregrass like the last coach did? If he doesn't,
he won't be able to compete.
Pike Liberal Arts is not going to be competing for state championships in football every year. Be right back to, you know, once every 10 years you'll have a team that can compete for a state championship.
Mike, what are your back to basketball tonight? Troy plays Jacksonville State at the
Jack State's a 4.5 point favorite against Troy at Troy, which is surprising.
Oh, I know it.
Well, let's have a good home.
49ers blew out the Rams last night. That's hard to believe. The 49ers were 3-5, and they beat the Rams 31-10 last night.
Well, they did beat them rough. You're right.
It's hard to figure the NFL. I mean, you got the Patriots who go and just blow out the Cleveland Browns, who were supposed to be a good team. Anything can happen in the NFL. Now teams are saying that now pundits are saying that the Patriots that started the year, I think 1-4, are one of the best teams in the NFL. I think it's the consensus that the number one quarterback is Mac Jones. If they could redraft today,
boy, I tell you,
he wouldn't have gone 5th as the number 5 quarterback.
He's been a good one, no
Man,
question about
that's
it.
still an amazing story about who was all on that roster. You know, when you had Tua, Mac Jones, Jalen Hurts. I guess Tua's brother was on there too. He started quarterback at Maryland. He
Yeah.
puts up a lot of big numbers, but he actually throws a ton of interceptions. I don't know if you ever watched Maryland play much.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
the
Likely's
first
the
of
guy
the year,
that-
I was really impressed with
Yeah,
Maryland.
I think Likely's the guy that is just a really good assistant coach, good offense coordinator, good position coach, but I don't think he's a head coach.
Yeah, and there's a difference, no question about it.
You know,
Did you know when he was at New Mexico, he was like 3-31 as a head coach?
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's New Mexico, but I'm just saying.
You rarely see a coach with a 3-31 record getting another chance.
Well,
Chiswick went 5-19 at Iowa State and got the Auburn job. Of course, the rest is history. Everybody knows the Cam Newton and winning the national championship story.
I forgot that he was the head coach at Iowa State.
You think Chiswick's name could come up if there's any openings?
I
Would
tell
he
you what,
want to be a head coach again at somewhere like the Sun Belt level?
We mentioned Jack State.
And I tell you what, he'd be a good one at Jack State. And then you also mentioned Muschamp. I thought Muschamp's is assistant coach right now. They pay him more right now as assistant coach than Jacksonville would probably pay.
He's getting paid by South Carolina. They're finishing paying out his contract for the next couple of years. He's an analyst at Georgia.
Okay.
Although this year he took he's the special teams coach because the special teams coach had a mental health issue and took a leave of absence.
Yeah.
Did you see Alabama's great wide receiver? We didn't even mention that. Calvin Ridley had mental health issues, and he stepped away from football for the last 4 weeks as well. And, he was a star wide receiver for the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. You're right. We haven't talked about that.
No question about
it.
it.
Good. I hope he's getting help he needs.
Of course, it's going to be a big week of high school and college football, and we'll be keeping you up on all of that. And hopefully we'll be talking to Johnny Williams tomorrow, on our show to talk about the bowl lineups and everything, and how, of course, he is over the Camellia Bowl in Montgomery, and also over the bowl at
Myrtle Beach Bowl.
Myrtle Beach Bowl, yeah, the Myrtle Beach Bowl. So he's wearing 2 hats this year.
The game will be at 6 o'clock tonight. This will be the 104th all-time match between two programs, with the first meeting coming in 1950, with Troy holding a slight advantage in the series. Wow, listen to this. 52-51 is the series record.
In basketball.
Can't get any slighter than that.
Boy, it sure can. Isn't that amazing? 52 and 50.
And then you said the tip-off is at 6 o'clock. Everybody hear that?
6 o'clock is what it says.
Well, and then I'm looking at one that says 7, but I'm going to be there at 6.
Well, everybody check and go to the website and confirm.
That is important.
Here, I'm on TroyChoices.com, and it says 6 o'clock.
For television, 6 o'clock.
I'll be able to watch it on ESPN Plus here, so I'll try to watch a little bit of it.
Yeah, I would like to get straight on that time.
Well, Mike says we got a really athletic team with more tall players than Troy has ever had, playing our oldest rival going back 75 years.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, if it's at 6, pass the word. Because
going to have a fun trip to go watch the basketball team. After this, Troy will be on the road in the Paradise Classic, playing in Boca Raton, Florida. They'll play North Dakota.
Oh boy.
UT Martin, and Florida Atlantic University. Those games will be played on the 19th, the 20th, and the 22nd.
Wouldn't that be something?
That's where Florida Atlantic is located, where Lane Kiffin used to coach. Boca Raton. It's fun to say the word Boca Raton.
Troy will play the Florida Gators in Gainesville on November the 28th.
be fun.
I watched Florida. I assume they beat Florida State. It was on TV, and they were leading by about 10 with about 4 minutes left in the game, and Florida State was a highly ranked team. So, well, Florida's won.
Florida beat Florida State.
Yeah.
Florida's won 2 national championships in basketball.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's show, and of course we enjoy so much bringing it to you right here on Troy Cablevision, and we'll see you tomorrow, bright and early for Today in LA.
No money down. No down payment. No payments till February 2022. No interest. That's right. It's November at Premier. Shop PremierTroy.com. And the most important nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
At Cost Plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best